Everything about this video is already weird, but we're gonna persevere anyway. Hi, I'm Caitlin and welcome to the Lit Review. I'm coming to you late at night after work to film my favorite of all favorite videos, and that would be LitLand. So this will be my October LitLand for 2020. This is my TBR game that is loosely based on Candyland, where I pick 5 cards to help me find my way through LitLand and to a book haul. And in the middle of it, I'm not allowed to buy books. When I hit a book haul, I'm of course allowed to buy books, but also there is always a giveaway at the end of the book haul. So there are also some potential rules along the way. There are some stuck squares and challenge cards that I might encounter. If you'd like to start my LitLand journey with me from the beginning, I will link the playlist up for you in the cards above. As always, I need to give a big thank you to people like Becca from Becca and the Books and Cody from Cody's Book Corner for being such huge inspirations in the TBR game world. They are the two that I consume the most of and was a big fan of long before I ever started this BookTube channel, so I will link both of their channels down below. Their gameplay has also inspired some of how I handle challenges and punishments in this game, so they always deserve a shout out. So before I can get into the gameplay proper with you, I do need to do a real quick summation of September's LitLand, and it was messy, if I'm being completely honest with you. So I had 7 books that I had to read from LitLand proper, and then there was one book that was rolled over into September from August, and another book that I had kind of done a one-time only, I need to finish this book by the end of September or else. So let's talk. So I've currently finished 4, but I'm in the middle of a 5th one, so I know I'm confident that I can finish Spend the Dawn by the end of the month. So officially 5, gonna call it at that. The 2 books that were from that original 7 that I haven't read are All About Love by Bell Hooks and Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. More on these 2 in a minute. My rollover book was Where Dreams Descend. I did finish this. I am about halfway through How to Be an Anti-Racist, which was my other book that I needed to finish by the end of September. And when I'm filming this, I still have several days left of September, so I'm confident that I can finish this and I won't be taking a punishment for this. So normally how punishments work on this channel for LitLand is that I would be unhauling them if I didn't finish them, but I'm not going to do that this time around for a couple of reasons. One, this is not mine. This is my partner's book. I cannot unhaul a book that is not mine. And since I cannot unhaul this one, it feels very weird for me to unhaul this one. But also September was a really rough month, especially at the beginning of the month. I mentioned in some of my earlier videos that I had to go help out a family member, and I don't feel bad or weird about doing that, but it did definitely throw off my just regular habits and day-to-day life in a way that negatively impacted my reading. So I'm not going to punish myself for doing something that I'm really grateful to have done in the first place. So I will reinstate the punishment rule next month, but yeah, I will take the punishments in the game for not completing 2 of the books on my TBR, but I'm not going to unhaul these books, at least not this time around. But I will try to get them read for you in October, so look for these on my October wrap-up, hopefully. So what this does mean is that I am going to take 2 punishments, which I've recently decided are going to come from my stuck square pile, that all of you so graciously helped me come up with more challenges for that. So I will be experiencing some of those today, and I'm gonna pull 2 of those in place of pulling a regular color square, so that punishments are now extra difficult for me because it means I don't progress. I still have to read a book to fulfill that prompt, but I don't progress on the board towards my book haul so that they hold extra weight. The way I was doing punishment pulls before was actually helping me advance across the board further, and that doesn't actually feel like a punishment when the reward is a book haul. So I'm tweaking things as I go. I've only been at this TBR game for about 5-6 months. So we're still adding and tweaking things to make it better every single month if necessary, and that's how that's gonna go. So the first polls you're gonna see are gonna be punishment polls, and I will only be pulling 3 colored squares. So I'll technically, well, I don't know how many spaces I'll be moving forward because some of them could be double squares, but only 3 colorful squares. So yeah, that's all the updates that impact the game, but let's actually get into the game playing. So these are the cards from last month. This was our last pull, which is why Wilbur is at that yellow. These are our challenge squares, these are our stuck squares, and these are the deck of cards left to play. So we actually made some really good progress last month, so let's see what's gonna happen. Read a book you've been avoiding. Okay, so the first of my 2 punishments is to read a book you've been avoiding. And handily, I do have kind of something that should fit this. I have my These Books Will Self-Destruct in 12 Months list that I'm still working my way through. So I'm gonna start there, and we'll see. Oh, okay, so actually looking at that list, this was kind of a no-brainer. I am gonna go with Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. I've owned this book for a really long time, and I've been chronically avoiding it for the better part of a decade. I definitely bought it a little after the hype of the film, not even the book's release, when the hype of the book got re-amplified, and have since just kind of casually been avoiding it. In large part because as I've become more thoughtful about my reading practices, the idea of writing a white man writing about geisha and Japanese culture during a politically fraught time doesn't entirely feel great. But we're gonna do it this month, so punishment 1 taken care of. Okay. Second punishment. Let's see where this lands us. Has been on your physical shelf the longest. Okay, so has been on your physical shelf the longest is my second punishment square, where I'm still have to read a book for it, but I'm not advancing across the board. And I'm laughing because I think Memoirs of a Geisha probably could have been one of the longest owned books that I have. This is a situation where Goodreads isn't actually going to help me at all, because I have been collecting and adding books to my life long before I was a Goodreads user, so I don't think that is necessarily up to date in terms of the things that have been on my shelf the longest. So I kind of just need to go stare at my big bookshelves that are out in the living room and see what happens. October really is a cursed month. Okay, we're gonna read Niccolo Machiavelli's The Prince. It's a short one, which is nice, but it is basically a Italian Renaissance treatise on power and like how to use and abuse it. I picked this up a really long time ago, back when I was regularly diving into historical fiction where characters were referencing this for their political intrigues, and were like casually referencing it in a lot of historical fiction that I was reading. And so I remember in high school thinking, I gotta read this. I gotta know what these other authors are talking about. So this is really like, this is a nonfiction book, almost like a how-to manual of how to rule and how to hold power, and like what a prince will or will not concern themselves with. It really, in many ways, I think symbolizes for a lot of people like political manipulation. So potentially a very appropriate read for the election cycle. So goes, you know? We'll see how this goes. Okay, so now I can actually pull to progress. Now that I've taken my punishment for not reading 2 of the books on my TBR. Let's see. Let's hope for some double squares. Okay, so the other 3 are just going to be normal card pulls from here. 1 yellow. Oh my gosh. And that is another yellow, but it has a dot on it, which means that I actually have to pull another stuck square. Read an anthology or collection of essays. I need for this game to be kidding me. So I pulled a yellow, which is 1 yellow means 1 young adult. But then that also landed me on an actual stuck square. So I had to pull another stuck card. And this one is read an anthology or collection of essays. So I don't have any young adult anthology or collection of essays, so I'm gonna go try to look and see what's available on Overdrive through my library. I am actually very excited about what I've pulled for this, despite the stress of pulling so many stuck squares. So I have mentioned several times on this channel how much I really like Roshani Chakshi's Star Touch Queen duology, and she actually has a bunch of little short stories that are collected in an anthology called Star Touch Stories. So I will put the cover of this up here, but that is what I am checking out from the library to be able to read to complete the challenge, to read an anthology or a collection of essays. And part of the reason why something like that is a stuck square is because I don't actually enjoy reading anthologies that much. I will occasionally read them within the romance genre, but I really don't listen to them or read them that often if I'm given the chance. So this really is a good stuck square card, as are the other 2 with things like book that you've been avoiding or the thing that's been on your shelf the longest. So we're just really taking some hits this month. Let's hope we can just get through these next 2 pulls, shall we? Okay. 1 blue is 1 nonfiction. I think we can do this. So for this one, despite what I just said about not reading a lot of anthologies or collections of essays, that's what I'm gonna go for this nonfiction pick. And I'm gonna read Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay. So this is kind of the one exception to that rule I just arbitrarily told you about. I do like them in nonfiction form because I find that to be like a really consumable form of content, and I've always wanted to read this in full. I have read several of the individual essays from this collection, but I've never read it start to finish, so it's not really a reread. It is a majority of a fresh read for me, so I am looking forward to this. Last pull. Last pull. Wow, okay. Rough month. So that's the progress we made for the month of October. So hopefully I will actually finish more books this month. All right. Okay, 1 yellow. So again, yellow is young adult. So just 1 more young adult. Okay, this is actually perfect because Kaylani from Kaylani Simply Me and I were talking about wanting to read this book together and buddy read it. So this fits in perfectly, and I got her hooked. Victory! I got her hooked on Renee Audier's The Wrath and the Dawn, and I also have not read the sequel, The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Audier, and so both of us are really anxious to learn what happens in book 2. So hopefully we'll both be very satisfied readers at the end of this trek, but I'm very excited to be adding this to my TBR. I love a good duology. I feel like they're super satisfying, especially because the fantasy landscape is just full of series, but I actually find duologies to be kind of like a good thing to have around because it's easier to catch up with. You don't have so many of them outstanding, and I really do like Renee Audier's writing a lot. So very happy to end on this note for our October TBR. Officially, I only have 5 books to read in October. So these are my 4 print books, plus the ebook of Star Touch Stories by Roshani Chokshi. And so my hope is that I can actually get through some of this. It might be very difficult because 3 of these are stuck squares, or stuck challenge cards, and that is a lot for me to slog through when I have been professionally avoiding some of these books for a really long time. So let's just hope that I get through those 5. And then additionally, I am going to attempt to get through All About Love by Bell Hooks and Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. And I'm not going to have any like rollover or like punishment related stuff. I'm just, for my own personal honor, pride, whatever we want to call it, gonna try to get through these since I did not finish them in September. And again, that unhaul rule will come back into play for anything that I don't finish in October. But yeah, this was a very dramatic little trek through LitLand here, friends. Yikes. Also, as a total side note, so many of you said really wonderful things about my hair color, so just thank you for that. It's already fading super fast. I used a temporary dye just to test it out to see how I felt about it, and sadly it is fading so quickly that it probably won't be around for much longer. But the next time I am capable to let a professional do the work, I think I might make it a more permanent fixture. So if it goes away for a little while and then aggressively comes back, that is why. Not that a ton of you need to know that information, but I thought for those that cared, I'd let you know. So yeah, just thank you for all the sweet comments. It really made me smile and, you know, made me want to be more brave and bold with my hair. Okay, so that's my read on my TBR for October. Thank you for spending the time with me. I hope you have a fantastic reading day. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of me or this channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!